Right, welcome to the UK Casuals podcast. As you may see, Martin King is still injured. So Mr. Gary Harris has got a first team call up. He's made the first team. Also, we're joined by Dave Cas. So over to you, Gary. How are we this week, mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Been a busy week for me work-wise. Yeah, all good. All good.
And yourself, Dave?
Yeah, I've just been in the cottage all week. Had a week off work to do my own place up, so I've been flat out there. But yeah, also a good week. Can't complain.
So all good. So over to you, Dave. You mentioned late last week about the QPR lads getting nicked for running on the pitch, which we're going to move over to Bristol Rovers afterwards. Right. So you wanted to say something about that a little bit, Dave, and your own story.
Yeah, well, QPR played Everton in the league. We call it the League Cup, right? The other week we beat them on penalties. It went to 8-7, so very, dramatic. 13 lads ran on the pitch to celebrate the goal. That's all they were doing, celebrating. And now, just like these Rovers fans who you'll speak about in a minute, Gary, they put out a big statement on the official QPR website. We want to find these 13, get them arrested, and we will deal with them accordingly. Now, I don't know what sort of ban the club would give them. If they get nicked, they can get bans, 3-year bans, blah, blah, blah. It's not like anyone was running on the pitch maliciously to hurt anyone, to attack a player, the ref, or to run towards the away fans and have a pop at them. It's just fellas having a celebration, right?
Passionate.
QPR to beat Everton is a big one for us, in this day and age.
Yeah.
Gone way over the top. Why do they want to start nicking people and all that and banning them? And there was nothing malicious in it whatsoever, right? Back in the 80s, football, proper invasions, shall we say. Invasions is when thousands and hundreds of people run on, have a row with each other, or they're running towards another opposition end to goad them to have another row. It ain't like that. No. This is not what it's about. This is about lads over exuberance, celebrating, and people not allowed to sort of get excited anymore. Blah blah blah. And I want to put a lighter note on it. Right, I've got a funny little story of when I got nicked myself. It was early 2000s. QPR were in what is now the Championship, which was then called League One, was it, or Division One?
One probably.
It went to the Championship anyway.
Okay, so if it was in like the equivalent of Championship, you're in Division 2.
Yeah, but it was then called League. Yeah, Division 2.
Yeah, it was Division 1, 2, 3, and 4, wasn't it?
It was the Premier, then League 1 or Division 1, Division 2.
Oh, right. Oh, the Premier League was there, was it? Oh,
anyway,
I can't remember.
No matter. It was early 2000s. QPR had a rough season. We were down the bottom, and we had to win our lot. We had to win our last game. Had to win it to stay up. Otherwise, we went down into the third tier. Guess who we were playing? We were playing Palace, our old arch enemies type of thing. Needed to win. Back in them days, I was still drinking. I was still doing bits and pieces back then. It was early 2000s, right? I'm in the Ellerslie Road stand with a few other people and all that. And QPR gone 1-0 up. We've got crazy ballistic. Yes. Palace had the whole 2 tiers. When we went 2-0 up, that was it. I ran down onto the touchline and I ran up towards the Palace fans, which admittedly is a bit over the top. And I probably, rightly so, got nicked because it is an offence to jump on the pitch. But I still think that is ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've done a runner and I've run up the back, tried to get out of it, went to the bog, took my cap off thinking I was clever, and I had a copper behind me who grabbed me. Cut a long story short, got nicked, got taken down the old Bill station, had to go to magistrate's court. So I'm shitting myself. I've already had a few bans in my life, been banged up with football, which is, it's part and parcel. I don't do it anymore. I'm fucking long gone from all that caper anymore. But anyway, I'm in West London Magistrates. I get a duty solicitor, okay, to represent me. Guess what? He's only a QPR fan, isn't he? I've had it right. This fella's a QPR fan and he's a solicitor. He goes, mate, I can't believe they've nicked you. And anyway, so he's gone in front of the magistrate, and this is what he said to the magistrate. He said, now, they don't call them your honour in magistrates, they call them sir or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now listen, you have to understand this man supports Queen's Park Rangers. He said, for Queen's Park Rangers to score 1 goal is an absolute miracle, but to score 2, you have to understand this man's excitement. And even the magistrate was laughing, and I did get away quite lightly that day. So thanks. I'd love to trace that duty brief again. Cheers, mate.
He done you well, Dave.
Story.
He done you well. Now, to knock over to Gary, who's part of Proper Football with Simon Wilton. I did notice a Facebook status that we all commented on about Avon and Somerset Police. But again, Dave, is very
exactly
similar.
The same.
They wanted to find Bristol Rovers fans that got on the pitch. They're being treated like terrorists. It's the madness, Gary.
Honestly, I've seen the clip of what went on. It's exactly the same as what's happened with the QPR lads. It happened at Walsall, Rovers, and have continued this week to be rather crap this season. Really haven't better. And then poor fans, mate. They've been through some shit, non-league and everything, and they ain't. They got a good support, and bless them. They have a lot of hard time, and they get a last-minute winner at Walsall. They don't win much at the minute, Rovers, and a few of the fans got on the pitch and they were just jumping up and down around the players.
That's all it was.
That is a full-on bloody thing with the old bill and everything. Giving it, we need to identify these fans, and unfortunately, they're asking fellow fans to squeal on them now. And unfortunately, this day and age, there are plenty of them fans that will grass up their own. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
they will.
It's a shame.
They will grass them up and tell the police thinking they're doing a goody thing. What on earth have these people done?
Yeah.
What on earth? Like I say, it was quite comical because this came up the day after they brought up on last week's show about the QPR lads.
It's a good timing, Dave.
It's the way we're heading as a country, I think. It's all
and leading on to that, about modern football, we spoke a couple of weeks ago when Martin was last on the show, Dave, about a match that took part with no headers.
Yeah.
At Spennymoor Town.
Yeah.
Which had ex-professionals. It was just a friendly. It wasn't no big thing. They've had quite a. I didn't expect this guy to come out and support them, but it was Terry Butcher.
That
has come out and has supported heading the ball, as saying it leads to dementia and other things. I'm quite surprised that it was Terry Butcher from the way the player was and who he was, and that picture of him caked in blood with his England kit on. What do you think to this day? Football with no headers? Surely it's your instinct to jump up and head the ball, and it's been part of it for 100 years.
Well, they'd have to. I don't know. Of course, it's always had headers. It's part of the match. It's part of the game. Cross it over on the nuts, son. That's football for you. I know it's called football, not headball, but at the end of the day, football's always had headers. How can you? I can't see why they would change that unless they wanted to do something completely separate, away from football itself, and do some other kind of sport where it would be without headers. And if people wanted to get involved in that, fair play. So be it. You can do whatever you like. You can use your whatever, but don't change football, for God's sake. They're trying to change things up as much in many different ways. It's getting ridiculous. And I do understand, all right, you can get head damage and all that. You probably could get concussion or brain damage. But it's the person. If you choose to play football, you expect knocks, you expect injuries. It's your choice. No one's forcing you to play football. Header's always been part of the game, hasn't it?
Yeah.
What next thing to be wearing fucking crash helmets like the old American gridiron and all that type of thing? No, I don't. Terry Butcher, surprisingly, because he was a bit of a rock, and we all remember that game for England when he was claret all over the gaff. But I don't know. It's controversial. Medically, it might be. Have they proven it? I don't know. Concussions rife in rugby union. We all know that, right?
Yeah,
but,
boxing.
Well, no, you couldn't have football without headers, could you?
Yeah. Over to Gary. We spoke a little bit previously, and I said if they're going to have no football without headers, then they're going to have to change the rules in boxing and rugby league. And we spoke earlier, Gary, that the footballs from yesteryear are a lot different to now, aren't they, Gary?
Oh, Jesus Christ, they were lead weights, weren't they? Let's be honest. I mean, I remember as a kid playing with a wet, heavy leather ball that when you kicked it, mate, and if you toe punted it by mistake, you're in big trouble, wouldn't you? You know. So look, you know, the footballs of today are massively different to what they were in yesteryear, where obviously, but you know, I don't. It'll be the end of football if they do it. It's football be finished, and it'd be a very sad day. But you know, like with many other things that's going on in this country at the minute, you know, there's like I said last week, I think they want us all to be. They want to sanitize the world, and just you know, and I think you can start with football, and then you're gonna have to stop boxing, possibly even rugby, because of the brutality of rugby, and I've played rugby. So I know the sort of things that go, you know, injuries. I know dementia is something that's incurable. And then let's look at every other occupation that carries a risk of some form of danger later in life. I'd love to understand proportionately how many players, a percentage of players that are definitely been linked to getting dementia, because let's face it, dementia is unfortunately an awful disease.
Yeah,
I've experienced it with family, my wife's family, and my wife works in dementia, so I know how awful it is. But it'd be really interesting to understand the proportion, as in a percentage, of players that can definitely be linked to that dementia, and then proportion it into every other walk of life, you know, because, you know, dementia is not exclusive to heading a ball. Dementia, unfortunately, is a disease that is a massive disease with many thousands of people suffering from it. It's a very difficult one because you're playing with people's lives, you know what I mean? But life itself is a risk. And if we sanitize life, like I believe they're trying to,
we don't live it to the fullest.
You ain't going to live life, are you?
I
dread what life
what
be
I
like
will
for
say,
my
Gary, is
future
that
families.
What was said earlier by Dave is the science is definitely out about heading a football, but then the statement from Terry Butcher was that you can recover from a broken leg, you can't recover from dementia. So there is both sides to the story, Gary. You know,
no one's denying at all that you know, if they're proven that a head in the ball can give you dementia, because if you've got 100 players that got dementia, right, how many of them would have got it anyway? And it's nothing to do with heading the ball. Look,
exactly,
you know,
mate.
Dementia is so not exclusive to heading the bloody football. So. No. I mean, it's a really difficult one to discuss, but at the end of the day, you know, there has to be some common sense involved as well. And I think the stats of, you know, how many players have gone down, ex-football players. Now, understand this as well. How many millions of people in this country have played football, including women more now as well? Yeah. How many millions have played Sunday League? Because it's all the same. Just because you're a professional, don't mean you're going to get dementia.
No, didn't matter.
Because you're professional, this will go down to the kids, it go down to Sunday League football. You know, millions and millions of people in this country play football. So we need to understand what is the proportionate amount of people of the millions that actually get dementia, is that proportionate with the normal amount of people that will suffer from dementia? And I don't know. People could really shoot me down for what I'm saying, but
of course, mate. I'm not too sure, but was the first person this was linked to was Jeff Astle?
Was what? Sorry.
Was the first person this was linked to was Jeff Astle?
Oh, I don't know, really. I mean, look, mate, I think really to go further discussing it, we probably want to go away. Sorry, I'm just trying to, hang on a minute, mate. My dog's trying to get in. Come on then, fella.
Live podcast.
That's it. Get in your chair, girl. Get in your chair. Yeah. Come on, leave me alone. Get in your chair. I genuinely think we need to understand like the percentages of the players to understand how big is the issue. I mean, if they're saying that a normal people, there is a percentage of this people getting dementia, but do you know what? The percentage is 90% on football players, then there is a serious issue that needs addressing, and maybe it is the end of football. I don't know. But we need to understand how many of these players have got dementia outside of that normal. Do you see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, the science is out, Gal, as Dave said.
This dementia will attack anyone and everyone if it gets the chance.
Whether you're football or not.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
the situation is football is not the only activity, be it a work activity, be it a sport activity, that will have implications to future health issues, that if you start a precedent now, again, we are literally sanitising the human race.
And doing something just because it might happen. Or not doing
because
something
there are
just
many other occupations and sports, boxing in particular, that
a greater risk, in my opinion, Gary.
You're going to ban heading from football, then how can you not stop boxing altogether? How can you?
You're going to have head guards and all sorts.
Also, any contact sport would have to be reviewed, and then you could then take that into the workplace.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a minefield,
Gary.
It's a minefield.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on, gentlemen. Let's have the first half of the table. Let's have Dave's pot pickers, the Premiership and the Championship, Dave. So over to you from last weekend's results, mate.
Okay, here's the results, pot pickers for this weekend. And I should have turned the light up. I can't see what I'm doing.
Eyesight's going.
Here we go. I need glasses. Can I borrow your glasses, please?
Mate, you've been heading balls so much.
Here we go. Right, Man United 1, Everton 1, Burnley 0, Norwich 0, Chelsea 3, Southampton 1, Leeds 1, Watford 0, Wolves 2, Newcastle 1, Brighton 0. Who were they playing? Hang on. No, is that Arsenal? Brighton 0.
Yes,
Arsenal
yeah.
Brighton 0, Arsenal 0. That's surprising.
Yeah.
Palace 2, Leicester 2, Spurs 2, Villa 1. Here's a biggie. West Ham 1, Brentford 2. And the one that's just finished, Liverpool 2, City 2. Now into the Championship. Stoke 1, West Brom 0. This is a biggie, isn't it? Coventry 4, Fulham 1. Birmingham 0, Forest 3. Blackpool 2, Blackburn 1. Bournemouth 2, Sheffield United 1. Cardiff 0, Reading 1. Derby 1, Swansea 0. Hull 2, Middlesbrough 0. Luton 0, Huddersfield 0. Peterborough 2, Bristol City 3. And QPR 3, Preston 2.
Oh, good result for you there, Dave. This week.
Yeah. Happy with that, lads. Happy with that.
Any results that shocked you, Dave, or surprised you?
Yeah, well, definitely West Ham 1, Brentford 2. Brentford seem to be doing quite well, didn't they, in the Premier, buggers?
Yeah. Not big boys by any.
No,
they're not big boys, are they?
I think they're 7th. I had a look at the table. I think they're 7th as it stands, Brentford. So fair play to them, like, good luck.
Yeah,
Brentford.
no, definitely. 100%.
It's nice to see the little teams, getting up there and doing well. What was the other ones? Arsenal, Brighton nil, Arsenal nil. I suppose it's not that surprising, really. But the bit
Coventry doing all right.
Coventry 4, Fulham 1. Coventry
That's a big result.
5-0 in the week. Who was it? Coventry lost 5-0 in the week. Luton. What the hell goes on in this division, mate?
I don't know, because Fulham looked really strong this season. And you're right, I thought that. 5-0 at Luton on midweek, and then beating Fulham, who were one of the favourites, 4-1.
You just wouldn't put no money on it.
Up and down.
You wouldn't have
crazy results.
Crazy results, yeah. That's all I'm saying.
There's no form to read. Okay, we'll go over to Gary. That is not going to read all the results from the other half of the table, but just some results you've picked out, Gary.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll look at leagues 1 and 2 and the national leagues. But if I read every result out and talk about a couple of them, we'll be here all night. So I'll pick out highlights. So we'll start in League 1, and so. Last week I bigged up Sunderland, said, if you got a bob, maybe put on it if you can get good odds. And then they go and get whopped 4-0 at Portsmouth yesterday. Give Wigan the opportunity to jump above them. They got a 2-0 win at Gillingham. So Wigan have gone top, Sunderland have dropped down to second. And Plymouth going well in third there as well. Getting that 2-2 draw at Lincoln City, but they're sitting in third there. Doncaster sitting rock bottom of the pile. Yet they got a result, still rock bottom. They beat Milton Keynes Dons 2-1, but they're still rock bottom. Moving on to League 2. So interestingly, we were ribbing Martin some time ago on the podcast, on the radio when we were doing the radio shows about Forest Green Rovers being his side, Eco Warrior and all that.
Yeah.
And they're actually top of the league. They
are the world's greenest football team. They hold the title of, Gary.
That's it. Go down there. You won't get no meat in your pie down there.
No, vegan only.
But yeah, so Forest Green Rovers are currently sitting in the top slot there. And you know what? They got a 2-0 win up at Carlisle. Harrogate, now there you go. They're sitting second in the league. They're only their second season in professional football. So fair play to Harrogate, doing well there, sitting in second. They got a 2-0 win over Pawley Oldham, who are obviously going through a lot of turmoil with their club at the minute. They're sat, unfortunately, second from bottom, potentially could end up non-league next year, on top of all the woes at that poor club. But yeah, so they lost at home to Harrogate 2-1, putting Harrogate in second spot. Port Vale sitting there in third with a 3-2 win over Leyton Orient. And I've mentioned Oldham down the bottom there. Not in a good shape, bless them. So moving into National League, Dagenham and Redbridge were riding quite nicely there, but they've lost at home 3-2 to Altrincham. And Grimsby got a whopping 6-0 win over Dover. Dover in a lot of trouble anyway. Couldn't field sides during the lockdown. And they've been punished for that.
Yeah.
Is that right? Is that right? They couldn't field a side. We were going through a pandemic. They've been punished by having major point deductions for not being able to fulfil a league fixture. But they got whopped 6-0 by the now leaders of the National League, Grimsby.
Yeah, Grimsby.
Okay, we're back on, yeah? Okay, just a quick mention to Grimsby fans in midweek. It definitely was at Bromley. I don't know if it was a cup game, but they took a huge away support down. So big big respect to Grimsby and their away support there. Just to mention as well, sorry about that. So Dagenham there, like I say already, that they've lost. Chesterfield sitting in third at the moment in that league. But the other big talking point out the National League, and if you do look at what we do on proper football, you'll see that Solihull Moors 2, Southend United. Southend United in a big trouble there. I mean, they've gone down into non-league. They are second from bottom, and you'll see as of yesterday, the chairman tried to confront fans on the way in, and it all got rather heated and nasty. Real problems at Southend. And I don't know what the answer is for that club, because who's going to come running along to them with money?
Should the Southend chairman have done that, Gary, in your opinion? Should he have gone down to the way end? Should the Southend chairman have done that? Should he have gone and confronted the lads?
Well,
the way end at Solihull.
It's hard to say, isn't it? I mean, maybe Dave can give his opinion in a minute, but for me, I sort of got to give the geezer a bit of credit.
You have to, don't you? He actually fronted up to his people who were saying they want him out of the club.
Let me say something quickly about that, right?
Yeah.
At the beginning of this show, what we were just doing tonight, right? Well, it'll be for Monday. We have said about fans invading a pitch, right? What? They're not even invading. They're celebrating on the pitch. They've entered the pitch. They want to be arrested. People are looking for them to get arrested. Yet this chairman's allowed to go on a pitch and confront fans and wind them up with a possible riot on their hands. So
I don't think he actually went on the pitch though.
He went down to the
actually went into the terrace.
Okay.
He actually went into the terrace. So he didn't go on the pitch. He actually walked into the terrace.
Right.
Should he have done it? I mean, they're all singing about him getting out of the club, and he went to talk to them. Or I don't know.
Maybe just say fair play. Fair play to him, yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, they proper give him a rough time, Dave. If you get the opportunity,
he did.
The video, they really
have a look at that,
yeah.
So,
we might include the clip in this show.
Excellent.
I'll insert it in. Yeah.
Get back in there, mate. Fucking kill the football club.
Yeah, okay. Southend in a bad way. Then the last bit, really, on National League is your boys, Weymouth, losing 2-1 Stockport. However, doing better than they were last year. They were sort of in that bottom relegation area last year. You're currently sitting in 17th.
Last season.
You know, you've got Dover rock bottom with -9 points over what we'd already discussed.
Yeah.
But Weymouth sitting in 17th place at the minute, so
not doing too bad. Okay. Thanks for that, Gary, and also to you, Dave, for the first half of the results. Just want to quickly bring up before we actually come to an end is what you said, Gary, last week. Ronaldo maybe not all's good at Man United. Throws a hissy that he's on the bench, Gary.
Like I say, all I was responding to was the feeling I was getting off social media about all the different little stories coming out.
Yeah.
About Ronaldo not looking very, all the little things behind the scenes. But this sort of just keeps that opinion I've got going that until I'm told otherwise by Man United fans that all's well in the camp, I'm not sure it is.
Does he think he's bigger than the club, Gary?
I don't know his character, really. I mean, the problem is when you get that big, you can become very arrogant and egotistical. and I suspect he could be a bit like that. But he grew up in Man United, didn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, he did.
So he knows the culture, so he knew what he was going back to. So I don't know if it's that or whether
Gary.
I don't know.
Was he on? Did you say he was on the bench? Yeah.
Yeah.
And did he play at all? Did he come on at all during the game? Do you know?
Do you know? I don't know. All I heard is he
came on, I think, Dave. Yeah.
Right, because they've lost. Man United have lost at home to Villa. And at the beginning of the season, they were on fire when Ronaldo was playing. So take all that out of it, all that ridiculous bitching shite. Ronaldo, obviously something's gone wrong there, and now they're starting to lose, Man United, and they've lost their impetus. They're down to fourth. So sometimes clubs start getting personal with players and this, that, the other, benching people or not playing them just because of personal reasons, then they start losing. So is he bigger than Man United? No. Are Man United bigger than Ronaldo at the moment? No. Man United have shot themselves in the foot because they've lost, right? When they should be sitting top of the league. So all this personal crap that goes in the foot. Oh, the manager don't like so-and-so, so he's been dropped or he's on the transfer list, which cost the whole club and the fans inevitably who support the team are going to suffer. So what's the point in all this?
Well, that's football, folks.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I'll just switch over to the other side of Manchester, the blue side. Raheem Sterling's time at Man City could be up, I've read in the press. I don't know how true that is. Should they let him go? What's your opinions, Dave, very quickly?
Should they let him go? If he wants to go, yeah. Yeah, why not? If he wants to go and he's
wants to go,
let him go.
A bit like Harry Kane at Spurs. If the person doesn't want to play for your team anymore, let them go.
Oh yeah. It's like if you work for someone, if you work for a firm, like you're a driver like Gary at the moment, if you work for someone comes in and you're not happy there and you want a different job, you'll go, wouldn't you? It's end of story. Or if they're not happy with you, they might say things ain't going right or whatever. But yeah, of course, it's your human being's choice, ain't it, to go?
Yeah,
if they want to go, go.
What's your opinion, Gary, just before we finish up?
I haven't really got one. Like if he goes, he goes. If he don't, Man City, as richest club in the world, mate, they can do what the hell they want.
Once Gary Harris hasn't got an opinion on something,
cares? Who cares whether he stays or goes?
Okay.
One last thing you've missed, mate.
Go on.
You need to bring up today. Watford sacking the manager again. Are you aware of that?
We've got a few minutes, Gary, to bring this up. Obviously, your team. Yeah.
Already.
A good decision or not, Gary?
Oh, look, it's the right decision. He was so out of his depth.
Okay.
But this is the problem at Watford. Every manager they bring in is out of its fucking depth, mate. I think it's becoming a joke. Watford are becoming a joke because of it. It's like people are laughing at us because we went through 3 managers last season.
Yeah, that's unheard of, isn't it?
Was it last season? Not last season, sorry, the season before.
On this note, Gary, right? What you're saying is chop changing managers. This was going on at QPR for quite a while in our turbulent years. And the instability it causes at a club is crap. You can't keep changing all the time. And we've stuck with Warburton. Look where he's getting us.
Yeah.
I'll just go back in time, gents, to when people were they were calling for Fergie's head at Man United. And look what he went on to do.
Stick with it.
The thing is, I understand. Look, they had to let him go because he was the wrong guy for the job. Last season, he got us up, but look at the side he had. And it was no disrespect to any other club in that league, but I thought last year in that championship, whether it was because of the COVID and all that, I thought it was one of the weakest championships I've seen in years.
Yeah.
And Watford had a side there of what were like Czar, £40 million player. It was always going to be a reasonable job. The problem with Watford is, and I organised a fans forum at Leighton Buzzard years ago, a few years back, and Duxbury was there, who was chairman, Deany was there, and it was all like people from Milton Keynes, Northampton, all that could attend, and the clubs do it, and but you're not allowed to do that in another town where there's a football club. So we wanted to hold it in Milton Keynes, they wouldn't let us. You had to hold it outside, so I had to go out and buzzing. But anyway, the thing is, the question was put to him, who's the chairman of Watford Football Club, and his answer simply was that the structure of the club is the managers are fairly irrelevant and can be changed whenever. I disagree, I really do. And I believe one of the problems at Watford is, we got on paper some great players, but they always underperform, other than the odd occasion, And to me, Dave hit the nail on the head. I think if you haven't got a bit of consistency with the management and the management style of a team, how can you expect the players to be able to perform at their best? For me, it was a decision that had to be made. But here we are again. We're on this fucking merry-go-round of managers.
A new manager.
The club got to wobble their heads and get it right.
Yeah.
Stop bringing in someone from Outermont fucking Golia. Sorry, I'm ranting. You know what I mean? They bring them in from
football, folks.
Nobody knows who their name is.
Okay.
Anyway.
Got to cut you short there, Gary.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Thank you very much to Gary Harris of Proper Football Facebook page and Facebook group.
Got a title now.
I've got a title now. Thank you very much to Dave Cas of QPR Memoirs, and there'll be more videos coming from UK Casual soon. Thank you to our main sponsor, the Casual Fug Terrace brand. The link to their website is in the description, so if you want club that looks good on the terraces or down the pub, that's the place to go. See you next week.